Hello and welcome to Solely Luna Inspirations. Excited to talk today about the Aquarius New Moon coming up Friday, February the 9th at 2:59 p.m. in the afternoon. That's Pacific Standard Time, so adjust for your location. And we're calling it Birthing the Age of Aquarius.
I wish I could sing the song. It's the dawn of a new age.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting our humble attempt at talking about the stars and what they have to teach us in these incredible times. And thank you so much for all the amazing support, all the likes and the massages of the algorithms. We're reaching a new level in our practice, thanks to you. And so, how you been feeling?
Been feeling up, down, all around. Good. Things definitely started moving forward once Aquarius season started. For me in my life, and I think for many people around, I've seen maybe not lightning, but things are moving forward more. And on that note, I guess all planets are direct at this point for this new moon, so there is a lot of forward momentum in the stars and planets too right now, so that's exciting. Good time to get stuff done.
This new moon is also with the right around, actually on February 4th, we have Imbolc, St. Bridget's Day, or St. Bridget's Cross. You know more about St. Bridget than I do.
Bridget's Cross, or yeah, St. Bridget's Day. Bridget was, from what I know, which I've only studied for a little while now, but she was the goddess of intellect and writing, so people would pray to her a lot to be able to...
Aquarian goddess.
Yeah, very fitting. And the prayers thought now to work to communicating and writing out your prayers were to bring you most abundance during harvest season. And so it's often honored of Goddess Brigid to make a little doll from corn for her.
Yes, it's a time of ritual. And why is Imbolc so important? So we have the, why is Imbolc so important? What does it signify?
So Imbolc is the split between halfway between solstice and halfway between solstice, winter solstice. And
so here's the winter solstice, the first degree of Capricorn. And here's the first degree of Aries. Somebody says to be careful. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, I hope that the sound problem is resolved. Let us know, huh? But here, 0 degrees of Aries is the beginning of spring. And halfway between the beginning of winter and the beginning of spring is 15 degrees Aquarius. It's Imbolc. It's one of the 8 Celtic fire festivals. Basically, from the middle of Scorpio to the middle of Aquarius is the darkest 3 months of the year. And so then Imbolc in traditional Celtic, actually it's still like that in Ireland, Imbolc is the beginning of spring. We've made it to the dark side. It's like the symbolically, the gopher comes out of its hole. You know, it's coming out of hibernation, and it's checking out to see if it's integrated the shadow or not.
That's a nice spin. I like it.
So you know, so we're coming out of the darkness, and I think we're starting to feel it. I think we're all craving more sun, and it's coming. And so Imbolc is exciting. And what else is happening around this full moon?
The ingress of many planets.
Look at the slide.
All right.
You didn't see that slide. We didn't do a rehearsal today.
Oh, yeah.
So we have on February 10th. So technically, the year of the dragon starts on the new moon. And so then this is probably February 10th on the East Coast, but here, or somewhere, maybe in China. So, but here, the year of the dragon begins on the new moon as well. And what's your take on the dragon year?
I haven't studied tons about the dragon. The dragon, I mean, just assuming from what dragon symbolized to me would be like death and rebirth and like a fiery energy, but it's a wood dragon I see too. So maybe a more grounded approach at that.
Not sure what wood dragon means, but it is a wood dragon, and there are 5 elements in Chinese philosophy, and wood, is the principle of growth out of the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the dragon in Chinese philosophy is really a very beautiful, fiery. It's a symbol of luck. The dragon is kind of the fiery spirit that brings in the light, so kind of like the Imbolc, right? And so it's usually a very lucky sign. It's a time of dedication to your work and prosperity at the end of that dedication. So then it's, and when we did our yearly forecast for 2024, I think staying to the grindstone and not getting distracted by all the noise and staying to your true principle and to what it is that you're trying to do. And through that determination and the patience, then break through to success. And so that's the dragon. Also, from a perspective of Western, Western civilization, the dragon, especially from a Jungian perspective, the Ouroboros, and the coming out of the Ouroboros and going on the hero's quest and slaying the dragon. So from a Western perspective, slaying the dragon is the process of death and rebirth that allows us to become fully who we are. So what Jung called and Joseph Campbell called the hero with 1,000 faces. So the call to the hero path. And so in a sense, it's congruent with the year of the dragon.
That's really fitting. I can see that for sure. Yeah, I like that image. I also think of the dragon in Michael's tale is like you're learning to have the courage to face the dragon, but really the whole myth is about how you have the courage to face your inner demons and then therefore die and reborn to the octaves of your potential.
And in astrology, we also have the dragons in the north and south node. So the head of the dragon and the tail of the dragon. And we'll talk more about that during the eclipse season, which should be quite interesting when spring comes along.
Definitely.
Blah, 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 blah.
Shall we continue?
Absolutely. So then let's look at the chart.
All right. The new moon in Aquarius. Everything is very close together there, hey?
So birthing the age of Aquarius, what does that mean?
When you said birthing, I think of Pluto entering Aquarius and how all these planets are about to be going through Aquarius, and it's like the dawning of a new age. And also Pluto being our shadow, it's like reckoning with the dark mother within us.
What's interesting too is that that new moon makes an angle, a square to Uranus. And so then the Uranus moon, so then and Uranus rules Aquarius, so the great bringer of light, so the dawn of the age of Aquarius. And with Pluto coming into Aquarius, we talked about that a lot, with Pluto in Aquarius. And so interesting. I picked out a quote that I'm going to read that we're going to read to you guys from Jung's work, where he puts this birthing of the age of Aquarius in a beautiful context.
Well, that's exciting. Stay tuned.
So Sun, Moon, and square to Uranus, it's not easy to give birth to a new age.
No.
And I think we're really feeling that, I think that the task ahead seems colossal, it seems really big what we're having to do. And so this Sun Moon conjunction in Aquarius, we talked lots about Aquarius and how Mercury, Venus, and Mars and Pluto, 6 planets in Aquarius very shortly. It's a very Aquarian focus, and so good time to talk about the age of Aquarius. So it's a stellium. What is it all about? I think that really the Aquarian, task is to understand what it's all about. And I think that that's a very important point in the evolution of the zodiac, that Aquarius seeks to make sense of it all, seeks to have a system that makes sense of it all. And so the Aries is the individuals going into life and charging into it. Taurus, making peace with my place in the world. Gemini, becoming learning to communicate with others. Cancer, learning to love. Leo, being reborn creatively. Virgo, making everything in the world permanent or stable, giving everything a foundation. Libra, learning to get along with everybody. Scorpio, the experience of death and rebirth. Sagittarius, what does it, what's the highest truth? Capricorn, let's build something about, in alignment with that highest truth. In Aquarius, we go, okay, no, we got it all wrong. We need to evolve. There's injustice. There's, there's problems. And so we can really see, that Sun Moon conjunction in square to Uranus, the revolutionary, evolutionary, no, we got it all wrong. Very strongly constellated in the collective right now, and in ourselves too. It seems like we're trying to find what it's all about.
Agreed.
Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. Seeing it big time in myself and in the world. Yeah. What are some of that last features there? The Venus Mars Pluto conjunction.
Is it because I talk so loud that you feel you have to be whispering?
Maybe, but I think I just get quiet easily. Most of my friends say this too.
Okay.
Need to practice projecting.
Yes, maybe I'll poke you. Okay, the Venus Mars Pluto conjunction, aligning our will and creativity to our ancestral contract. Woo, that's a mouthful.
No small feat.
No small feat. And so we're really going to feel that one. That's kind of the last conjunction with Pluto after the Sun and the Moon and Mercury and Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars will be in conjunction with Pluto. How we relate to each other, how we find what pleases us, Venus, and the call for our, adventure, Mars, and that relationship between Venus and Mars, and the harmony between the masculine and the feminine, and what's the ancestral gift and what I'm here to do, so that gives us a lot to think about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely gives us a lot to think about. I definitely feel at moments tuning into these shifts coming up, like I notice I hold my breath when I think about it too much. In my own process and human experience, but also in the collective, thinking about how often there's been a great collective shift every time Pluto shifts signs. And I think that these planets, once they're on the other side of Pluto, we're going to see potentially some big collective shifts by then. But we shall see.
Okay. Let's dive into a little bit of Jung stuff.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got for us?
Okay, that's a lot of text.
Mm-hmm.
You want to start reading?
Me? Sure, I'll read a bit and you break it down for us.
Yes.
It is not presumption that drives me, but my conscience as a psychiatrist that bids me to fulfill my duty and prepare those for who will hear me for the coming events which are in accord with the end of an era.
As we know from Egyptian history, they are manifestations of psychic changes which always appear at the end of one Platonic month and at the beginning of another.
Apparently, there are changes in the constellation of psychic dominance of the archetypes or gods as they used to be called, or gods as they used to be called, which bring about or accompany long-lasting transformation of the collective psyche.
So Jung here speaks of, and when I started reading Jung very actively when I became an astrologer because I felt I needed more background in psychology. And, as an astrologer, sometimes you kind of feel like on the fringe of society. And so when you start reading Jung, you kind of find somebody just like you. And when I found this quote, I found out that Jung was one of the first ones to start speaking of the Age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. And this is in Civilization and Transition. And so he goes straight out. He says, from history, we know that every 2100 years or so, there's an axial shift, a change of the age. And that these changes of the ages create a shift in the archetypal dominance or the gods. Mm. That means that what that means basically is that the gods, astrology, the way we deal with the planets and how we define them is in the process of changing. How we look at spirit, how we look at God, as we look at the archetypal structure of the moon and the sun, as we look at Mercury and Venus and Mars, these gods, they're changing with us, or they're changing inside of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And these changes, Jung expresses
as the big shift, eh?
Well, it's the age, it's the age of Aquarius. So this transformation started in the historical era and left its trace first in the passing of the aeon of Taurus into that of Aries. Aeon is a god. It's the god of astrology. You see in pictures, in ancient pictures, you see the god Aeon in the zodiac. And so, the changes of the eons, so that the god Aeon went from Taurus to Aries, and then from Aries into Pisces, whose beginning coincides with the rise of Christianity. We are now nearing that great change which may be expected when the spring point enters Aquarius. So here Jung is inviting us to understand what happens. So what happens at a change of an era, of an eon?
Different cultural values, different motivations, different ways that humans might organize themselves on Earth.
Well, Jung expressed, but Jung expressed it as the inner man within us changing. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's creating all kinds of very interesting symptoms in the collective. We have, so many things that are ancestral and are associated with the age of Pisces that are now starting to shift. And it seems like so many things, how we look at masculine and feminine, how we look at different races, how we look at colonialism versus, indigenous cultures. We look at the great religions of the world. We look at our history of the religion and history of our times. So many things are shifting, and I explained it in an interesting way. It's like we know we can't keep living this way. The inner person within us knows it, but the outer person has a really hard time changing the way it behaves, so that we have a tension within ourselves that is really kind of like a latent psychosis, right? And we saw, what we just went through with COVID, a full-blown psychosis. And then now, there are those of us who would just precipitate us into a world war. And we're here we are, and these are the symptoms of the age. It's not easy to birth a new age. And it's quite obvious as to how it's going on, huh? So, did that make sense to you? Go ahead.
It would be frivolous of me to try to conceal from the reader that such reflections are not only exceedingly unpopular, but even come
perilously
close to those turbid fantasies which becloud the minds of world reformers and our interpreters of signs and
portents.
What is portents?
Portents is important. A portent is like it's announcing a new potential, signs and portents. So, but so what he's saying is that, wow, I'm a scientist and a psychiatrist, and here I'm talking about the age of Aquarius. I sound like a mystic, but really, I must take this risk, even if it means putting my hard-won reputation for truthfulness, reliability, and capacity for scientific judgment in jeopardy. I can assure my readers that I do not do this with a light heart. I am, to be quite frank, concerned for all those who are caught unprepared by the events in question and disconcerted by the incomprehensible nature. Since, so far as I know, no one has yet been moved. He wrote this in the 1940s. Since no one has yet been moved to examine and set forth possible psychic consequences of this foreseeable astrological change, I deem it my duty to do what I can in this respect. I undertake this thankless task in the expectation that my chisel will make no impression on the hard stone it encounters. In this quote, we find the esoteric meaning of Jung's work, especially when it comes to us as astrologers. But Jung's alchemical work has a deeply, deeply meaningful astrological perspective. The Healer and the Dreamer, I came with that title as the Sun and the Moon, the union of the Sun and the Moon, by reading the Mysterium Conjunctionis, which is Jung's most important work on alchemy. Took him 10 years to write. And in that book, Mysterium Conjunctionis means the mystery of the new moon. It's an alchemical and astrological thesis of the highest order, it's very difficult to understand because it's written in such a symbolic language, but it really, that and the other three books that he wrote on alchemy have become kind of integrated in this new age. And we're, alchemy, and we're talking about, so many different things that Jung talked about. And that was really his most important mission from his own personal perspective, to prepare those who were unaware of what it means to give birth to a new age. Mm. And so when I read that, then that's when really I became very, very serious, but also affirmed in that I felt like my job as an astrologer was supported by Jung, who felt like this was what was important, is to prepare people for the age of Aquarius. And so that was really powerful time. And this is in the book Civilization and Transition. It's the introduction to Jung's work on flying saucers as symbols of individuation. And in that same book, there's 5 essays on collective psychosis and World War II. Fascinating stuff. Civilization and Transition, Volume 10 of the collected works. So that was quite the download. How did you like that one?
Good. It definitely is fitting. Feels like we're in pinnacle shifting times. And it's hard to put words to things, but it's also cool that, and fascinating, somebody who was around quite a while ago was able to put words to such changing times.
Not only that, but he dedicated his work to prepare us. And that means that in his work is the tools that we need to give birth to that new age. And astrology and dream analysis and alchemy, all of those things tied into a beautiful process, can be incredibly valuable. And that's what our work is about. And in The Healer and the Dreamer, astrology is to put all of these things together and share them with our community, so that together we can give birth to the age of Aquarius. Whoa, that was cool.
Full circle.
So we got some alchemical opportunities for you.
So as of January 27th, Uranus stationed direct at 19 degrees of Taurus, meaning that all planets are moving forward, like we mentioned earlier.
And so that should be felt. I think you were mentioning that.
And then on February 4th is Imbolc. And then on February 5th, Mercury comes to join up with Pluto and enters Aquarius at 0 degrees. So this is the first of the inner planets coming to greet Pluto and go into Aquarius.
Then today, the Aquarius New Moon, February 9th. And then the 13th, Mars conjunction Pluto.
And then after Valentine's, on February 17th, Venus will go to conjoin Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius.
And then the 21st or the 20th, Venus Mars conjunction. And the 24th is the Virgo full moon, and the sun coming on the 21st, or right when Venus and Mars conjunct, actually, the sun enters into Pisces. So those are
this Venus Mars conjunction, that's right on your birthday this year.
Yes, it is.
It's exciting.
It's a big birthday for me. I'm turning 65 years old. Ooh. Yes. I'm going to get discounts at the store.
These perks kick in.
Big year. Celebration. So if you want to celebrate with me, send me a nice little shout there. And also, yeah, I think we should gather for that and celebrate.
We will.
Indeed, we will.
Yay. Anything else with this Aquarius new moon? How do you feel?
Did we talk about everything? Oh, the only thing that we didn't talk about is the Jupiter Uranus be starting to intensify, huh?
How would we recommend, like, how to utilize this Aquarius new moon square Uranus? What do you think would be some tools that people can bring into their own life?
I think reflecting on what's my highest truth, you know, and really being smart about what it is that's important. You know, like I used to say, I have a saying is that, you know, if you want the perfect life, when you make decisions, if it's not perfect for you, you don't take it. So whenever you have a decision, you only do what's perfect for you. Then finally, you're gonna, you know, after some time, after making really good, smart decisions, you're gonna have the life you want. So don't settle.
Sounds like a Saturn and Capricorn.
It sounds like a Saturn. You know me, don't you? Yeah, Saturn and
But yes,
Capricorn,
I do think there's a lot of wisdom in that.
but also a moon in Leo, and you know, and yes. Well, I mean, you know, to know that what you want to do in life is important, and then to make the decisions according to that. And so that's the enlightened Uranus, you know, who makes the courageous choice to bring light to the humans, you know, and so it's a big thing because Uranus then got nailed to a rock, and his liver was eaten every morning, and the liver grew back every night. And he was cursed to do that because he stole fire from heavens after Zeus told him not to do it. And so in that sense, we all pay a price. I had a client reach out to me today expressing how lonely the human experiences is for him. And that's the price of a Uranian attitude. If we seek to bring light to humanity, we feel isolated. It's more difficult to be to develop wisdom, you know, that's what they say, huh? And they say, ignorance is bliss, where it is folly to be wise. And so in that sense, to be wise is folly, in that it has a very isolating effect, just like powerful Uranian personalities like Martin Luther King and Che Guevara and Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi and all of these people that brought about great light and great change. Jung was one of them, suffered a great isolation. And so then I think that, you know, how to deal with that? Well, to know one, that to seek the highest truth is to seek individuation is a difficult task that is very lonely, but also that is the price that we have to pay, and to willingly go into the darkness for the process of transformation and bring light where it's truly needed.
That really, I think speaks well as a baseline to what all of this going through its Pluto transformation is gonna happen for us collectively and individually. That's funny, as you say, the liver. I guess a side little note is that with the wood element being focused this year for the dragon year, the wood element in TCM rules the liver and the gallbladder.
TCM means
Traditional Chinese medicine, sorry.
For those who
yeah. And so the liver and the gallbladder, they're these parts of our body that can heal and repair very quickly. And yet often in North America, we find a lot of people have their gallbladder removed. And yet these pieces are, if we work to have them in health and order, they can support us so much. And yet if we don't put the effort in, we often have to deal with the consequences. And the liver in our body shows us that a lot as well.
That was deep. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. One of the questions that's been popping up in the last, it's amazing, you know, we got the last video got us 125 new subscribers, over 3,000 views. So, you know, so many have joined our community in the last month. Actually, we had our busiest month that we can remember in January. So that bodes well, the year of the dragon. And hopefully we resolved our sound problem. Let us know. And if you have any questions, but one of the questions that's coming back a lot is, do you guys do readings? Yes, we do. And you want to show them how to get in touch with us. So Martin Comtois, Astrology, Dreams, and Individuation, Spirit of the Times 108@gmail.com. Reach out. This is how we support our channel, through the readings that we get. And so thanks for supporting our work.
Yeah.
And
I want to share with the audience, if you don't mind.
Please.
Just ending out on a note, we are going to be changing our style a lot throughout this year because we're both going to be going on big adventures. And I guess I just wanted to share and announce that I will be out of the country of Canada for quite a few weeks, going on a little soul quest to India. And so these videos will be taking many different shapes and forms in the coming weeks and months here.
And then I'm heading east to go care for my mother on the Les Îles de la Madeleine, a little bank of islands in the flat middle Gulf of St. Lawrence. And so we'll document all of that as we go along. It's been an amazing run for over 2 years together in person, but we'll continue it and it will transform as it will.
Yeah.
We trust the process. Thanks a lot, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. Happy New Moon.